will be reciting in Sanskrit, and Alka Mataji will be reciting in English from Canto 3, Chapter 25, verses 1 to 15. And at 8:40, there will be a bhajan singing by Gaurangi Mataji, Jai Radhe Jai Krishna, and dear Sahiti will be reading English translation of the bhajan. So thank you, Hare Krishna. Meena Mataji, whenever you're ready, can you please start with invocation 3 times? Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The chapter 25, The Glories of Devotional Service, text 1. Sunak Uvacha Kapilastava Sankhyaता Bhagwan Atma Mayaya Jata Swayam Acha Sakshat Atma Prakratape Nunam.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Saunak said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapila Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race.
Text 2. न हस्य भस्मनं पुंसां वरेण्यं सर्वयोगिनां विसृतो श्रुतदेवस्य पुरी तृप्यन्ति मे सवा.
Shaunaka continued, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is the actual pleasure of the senses.
यत्यद्विद्वते भगवान् स्वस्वन्दा आत्ममायया तानि मे श्रद्धानस्य कीर्तिन्यान्यनुकीर्तय.
Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is full of self desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency.
सुत उवाच द्रेपायन ससङ्ख्यस्ते द्रेपायन ससङ्ख्यस्तेवं मैत्रेयो भगवांस्तथा प्राहेदं विदुरं प्रीत अन्वीक्षिक्या प्रचोदितः.
Sri Sutta Goswami said, the most powerful sage Maitreya was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows.
मैत्रेय उवाच पितरि प्रस्थिते रम्यं मातुप्रियचिकीर्षया तस्मिन् बिन्दुसरे वासीत् भगवान् कपिलः खिलः.
Maitreya said, when Kardama left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of the Bindu Sarovara to please his mother Devahuti.
तमासीन अकर्मणं तत्त्वमार्गाग्रदर्शनं स्वसुतं देवहूत्याः धातु सस्मरन्ति वचः.
When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows.
देवहूति उवाच निर्वीणा नितरां भूमम् भूमन् असद्धि इन्द्रियतसरणात् येन सम्भव्यमानेन प्रपन्द्यार्थं तमः प्रभु.
Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by material senses, for because of this sense disturbance, my lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance.
तस्य त्वं तमोद्यस्य दुष्पारस्यात्यपारगं सचक्षुर्जन्मनामन्ते लब्धं मे त्वत्वनुग्रहात्.
Your lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental eye, which, by your mercy only, I have attained after many, many births.
Yeah, you need to put down, sorry. Yeah. य आद्यो भगवान् पुंसाम् ईश्वरो वै भवान् किल लोकस्य तमसान्तस्य चक्षुसूर्य इवोदितः.
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin and Supreme Lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of the ignorance of the universe.
अथ मे देव समोहम् अपाकष्टु त्वमर्षि योऽवग्रहोऽहं मेति ते तस्मिन् योजिस्तस्कया.
Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily reactions.
त्वं त्वागताहं शरण्यं स्वभूत्य संसारकुठारमः जिज्ञासयाहं प्रकृतिपुरुषस्य नमामि सद्धम् अविदं वरिष्ठम्.
Devahuti continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between spirit and matter.
मैत्रेय उवाच इति स्वमातुनिरवृतमिषितं निशम्यं पुंसा अपवर्गधर्मं धियापि नत्वा आत्मवतां सता गति प्रभास ईश्वस्मितशोभितानन्.
Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of the transcendentalists who are interested in self realization.
श्रीभगवानुवाच योगाध्यात्मिकं पुंसां मतो निःश्रेयसाय मे अत्यन्तो परित्रियत्र दुःखस्य च सुखस्य च.
The personality of Godhead answered, the yoga system, which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity, and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system.
तमिमं ते प्रवक्ष्यामि यमवोचं पुराणते ऋषीणां श्रोतुकामानं योगसर्वाणि पुणम्.
O most pious Mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system, which I explained formerly to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way.
चेतः कवलस्य बन्धाय मुक्तये च आत्मनो मतं गुणेषु सक्तं बन्धाय रतं वा पुसि मुक्तये.
The stage in which the consciousness of the living entity is attracted by the three modes of material nature is called conditional life. But when that same consciousness is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is situated in the consciousness of liberation.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much for doing these Sanskrit citation and translations. Thank you so much. So I will start sharing my screen in a minute. Nice recitations, Alka Mataji and Meena Mataji. Thank you. And welcome to the devotees who are joining for the first time. Hare Krishna. Anyone here for the first time? First session? No? Okay. Let me share my screen. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Yes, can you see? Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So, very important chapter. All of the chapters are important, but Canto 3, this is status cure, chapter 25, is the glories of devotional service. If we go back in Canto 3, chapter 25 here. So in chapter 24 and 23, actually here we started with conversation between Manu and Kardama, then marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, and then Devahuti, when Devahuti was feeling that she forgot the main purpose of life, devotional service she didn't do. So, and then that pastime happened, and then she was told that she will be begetting a child who will instruct her about the devotional service. So, and here we are now in the chapter 25, the glories of devotional service. Now Lord Kapil will appear, and before he appears, there is some conversation that Shaunaka Rishi is doing and telling that what is Kapil Dev going to explain, and some glories about Lord, why Lord appears, and in every incarnation of the Lord, what is his mission, why does he come again and again, which we also read in Bhagavad Gita. And the same thing is here glorified before Kapil, the Lord Kapil's pastime is explained. And in the next chapter, it is actually further explained in detail the fundamental principles of material nature, which is what Kapil Muni Lord Kapil is going to actually share. So what he's going to share, if we look at the chapters, we will know that what is he going to share is like principles of material nature, about Atma, Aham Brahmasmi, like we are souls, not the bodies. Fundamental principles of material nature, how material nature works, the three modes of material nature, and it's temporary nature. And then Kapila's instruction on the execution of devotional service. So he will explain about everything, about the minute things, Atma, and the interaction of Atma, Jiva with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, material nature, interaction with material nature, how do modes work, and all that. And then Lord Kapil is going to instruct about devotional service, which is the crux of Bhagavad Gita also, and Srimad Bhagavatam also, and an explanation about devotional service by Lord Kapil. And then in chapter 30, Lord Kapil will describe about adverse fruitive activities. Like he is explaining about material nature, but people are too much into material activities that they forgot the main purpose of life. So that's why Lord Kapil comes, and he then explains that what happens when we are too attached to the materialistic life, and even the following the Vedas just for performing fruitive activities and gaining some benefits. So he's telling what can actually it lead to. And then Lord Kapil instructs on the movements of living entities. Movements of living entities means based on what they do, what kind of activities they perform, what kind of bodies they get, and what kind of planets they are transferred to, and movement from one body to another body. Then engagements in fruitive activities, and activities of Kapil. What activities actually Lord Kapil did. So this is going to end the third canto actually with instructions of Lord Kapil, and it is going to be the crux of this whole pastime, was meant to give us this instruction, and Lord had to appear in form of Lord Kapil. So let's go to chapter 25, and the verses are first two verses. Charnaka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Shrinavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantasthoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suratsatam Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatam maham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shaunaga Uvacha. Kapilastatva Shankyata Bhagavan Atma Mayaya Jatah Swayam Maja Shakshat Atma Pragyapatya Nirnam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Sri Shaunak said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapil Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. Purport. The word Atma Pratyapatiye indicates that Lord descends for the benefit of human race to give transcendental knowledge. Material necessities are quite sufficiently provided for the Vedic knowledge, which offers a program for good living conditions and gradual elevation to the platform of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one's knowledge expands. On the platform of passion, there is no knowledge, for passion is simply an impetus to enjoy material benefits. On the platform of ignorance, there is no knowledge and no enjoyment, but simply life almost like that of animals. The Vedas are meant to elevate one from the mode of ignorance to the platform of goodness. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he is able to understand knowledge of the self or transcendental knowledge. This knowledge cannot be appreciated by any ordinary man. Therefore, since a disciplic succession is required, this knowledge is expounded either by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself or by his bona fide devotee. Shaunaka Muni also states here that Kapil, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took birth or appeared simply to appreciate and disseminate transcendental knowledge, simply to understand that one is not matter but spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi, I am by nature Brahman, is not sufficient knowledge for understanding the self and his activities. So here it says, simply to understand that one is not matter but spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi, is not sufficient knowledge for understanding the self and his activities. One must be situated in the activities of Brahman. Knowledge of these activities is explained by this Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Such transcendental knowledge can be appreciated in human society, but not in animal society, as clearly indicated here by the word nirnam for human beings. Human beings are meant for regulated life. By nature, there is regulation in animal life also, but that is not like the regulative life as described in the scriptures or by the authorities. Human life is regulated life, not animal life. And in a regulated life, only one can understand transcendental knowledge. Text 2. न ह्यस्य वृषमना पुंसां वरिं न सर्वयोगिनां विश्रुतौ श्रुतदेवस्य भूरि तृप्यन्ति मे शवः. Translation and purport. Translation. Shaunaka continued, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him is always the actual pleasure of the senses. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one cannot be equal or to greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is confirmed in the Vedas also. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidhadhati Kaman. He is the supreme living entity and is supplying the necessities of all other living entities. Thus, all other living entities, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, are subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The same concept is confirmed here. Na hyasya varshmana pumsam. Amongst the living entity, no one can surpass the Supreme Personality person, because no one is richer, more famous, stronger, more beautiful, wiser, and more renounced than he. These qualifications make him the Supreme Godhead and cause of all causes. Yogis are very proud of performing wonderful feats, but no one can compare the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is associated with the Supreme Lord is accepted as the first-class yogi. Devotees may not be as powerful as the Supreme Lord, but by constant association with the Lord, they become as good as the Lord himself. Sometimes the devotees act more powerfully than the Lord. Of course, that is the Lord's concession. Also, used here is the word Varimnaha, meaning the most worshipful of all yogis. To hear from Krishna is the real pleasure of the senses. Therefore, he is known as Govinda, for by his words, by his teachings, by his instruction, by everything connected with him, he enlivens the senses. Whatever he instructs is from the transcendental platform, and his instructions, being absolute, are non-different from him. Hearing from Krishna or his expansion or plenary expansion like Kapil is very pleasing to the senses. Bhagavad Gita can be read or heard many times, but because it gives great pleasure, the more one reads Bhagavad Gita, the more he gets the appetite to read and understand it, and each time he gets new enlightenment. That is the nature of the transcendental message. Similarly, we find the transcendental happiness in Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, the more we are happy. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So Shaunak Rishi is actually explaining the glories of Kapil Dev and who is Kapil Dev. He started to explain that although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapil Muni by his internal potency. So why he is mentioning although he is unborn? Because this is for us, this is for the people of Kali Yuga, this is the people who are atheist, who think that God is an ordinary person. He takes birth, he dies, he was killed, or he took birth like an ordinary person. But he's just making it clear in the verse itself. Although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapil Muni by his internal potency. So, just a second. Yeah. So although he's unborn, that he is unborn, don't think that he's born. He's born like an ordinary person. In previous chapter also it was said that Lord Kapil appeared. It is not said that he was born. So he's unborn Lord. He just appears and takes birth by his internal potency. So not like any other person, and he descends to disseminate the transcendental knowledge for the benefit of human race. In Bhagavad Gita, we read in chapter 4, 4.6, 7, 8, 9. All these verses are about why Lord descends, what is the purpose, and is it just out of some purpose that he comes, or it's just that what is the reason why Lord has to descend? So that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. Let's quickly, since it's always nice to go back and link the shastras like Bhagavad Gita, nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction, so that we can link back all these. And this is how Prabhupada used to do. He used to go back and forth in different scriptures to give the rationale and to back up for what he's explaining in the purport. So chapter 4 is of Bhagavad Gita is transcendental knowledge, and here we say, Lord, what does Lord say? See, in text 6, although I am unborn, again, that's why I came back here. Although I'm unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all the living entities, by my internal energy, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. And what is the verse? Here, 4.6. Ajopi sanan avyayatma bhuta nam ishvaropi san prakritim swa adhishthaya sambhavam atma mayaya. where Lord is saying that the same thing that Shanak Rishi is saying in the verse, Canto 3, chapter 25, first verse, that he is unborn. Again, Lord has described it many times so that people can make it very clear that that he just comes by his internal potency, internal energy in every millennium in his original transcendental form. And then he also says in the next verse, all these verses are about his appearance. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. And the shloka, the verse is Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavti bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. We know this is a very famous verse also. And the next verse, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. To deliver the pious, see, so to deliver the pious, this is also Lord takes responsibility of the people who are actually sincere and who are devotees, who are sincerely trying to follow the Vedic path and trying to come out of the cycle of birth and death. He comes for those people if they are actually the dharma increases, rises. So deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion that sometimes after some years and some decades and some yugas, or not yugas, but after some, we can say after every 100 years or some years, there is always decline of some principles. There is always mixing up, and because of rising Kali Yuga, everything gets mixed up. He's saying that he comes, he appears. Again, he's saying he appears millennium after millennium. And then why are we studying about Bhagavatam and the appearance of Lord in different forms in incarnation? Because one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance, Krishna is saying, and the activities, his transcendental activities, does not upon leaving body take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So Krishna is saying in text 9 of Bhagavad Gita also, जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम एवं यो वेति तत्वता त्यक्त्वा देहम पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति so Arjuna. So that whoever knows my nature and my appearance and activities, and whoever knows about his glories and his dealings with his devotees, upon leaving this material world, will attain his eternal abode. And that is why we are reading about all these incarnation, and Bhagavatam is full of Krishna's appearance and disappearance and his dealings with his devotees. So just let's go back to the Canto 3, chapter 25, Glories of Devotional Service. Here, 25, yes, first verse. Yeah. So, he descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. So we went back to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, transcendental knowledge, verse 6, 7, 8, 9, all tells about his appearance. The word Atma Pragyapatye indicates that Lord descends for the benefit of human race. Material necessities are quite sufficiently provided for in the Vedic knowledge. So here, this particular paragraph and verse actually says that people are most of the times, what happens is that people get distracted by the Karma Kand section of the Vedas, and which is also for our purification to some point, because we pray for all those material things, and then eventually after getting all those desires fulfilled, we still not feel fulfilled, and we still miss something. We still feel that there's something missing in our lives. Everything is there, but there is no shanti, but there is no mental peace, but there is so many problems coming. Even though I have a house, I have car, I have everything, my family settled, everything is going fine, but still there is unhappiness because I cannot deal with the dealings of material world. So that is why Krishna has to appear again and again and tell us, and Lord Kapil appeared to tell us that don't be too involved in karma kand, don't be too involved in that section only. You have to rise above that. Material necessities are quite sufficiently provided for in Vedic knowledge, which offers a program for good living conditions. Obviously, it's given, and we do that, but gradual elevation to the platform of goodness, but we have to rise above that, and we have to see what is the next step. So it is a long process. If we just keep on fulfilling our desires, it will take many, many lifetimes to reach to the level where we surrender to the Lord and we quit and we realize that this is just repetition of the same things. It's not going to be fulfilled ever. So that karma kand is also for our benefit only, but we have to rise above a gradual elevation to the platform of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one's knowledge expands. So when we rise to that level of mode of goodness, then our knowledge expands, and knowledge expands means then we actually feel about more than just the Maslow's hierarchy, the pyramid, where we have self-realization at the top. Why is it so? And this is scientific. No one has, all those scientists, they were atheistic or they didn't believe in God, but they still knew about that hierarchy, that this is the basic need of human being, because they knew that after fulfilling the basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, psychological needs, safety, we actually go above to the soul, to the platform of soul, inner fulfillment. And once their inner fulfillment, the idea that I need something else comes, we actually rise to the mode of goodness, and then we start looking for what is the purpose of my life, and more knowledge about scriptures, about God, about something beyond material desires. So in mode of goodness only our mind will actually go to temple. We will think about not just going to the temple for the sake of asking something, but for the sake of connecting ourselves to the Lord. So that is mode of goodness. And on the platform of passion, there is no knowledge, because in goodness there is knowledge, but in passion there is just desire, passion, just thinking about enjoying propensity, which never finishes. And on the platform of ignorance, there is no knowledge. In goodness, at least there was knowledge. In passion, there was some material enjoying tendency. But in ignorance, there is no knowledge, no enjoyment, just like animals. We just live simply like animals. There's no purpose of life, no shelter, food, no basic. We're not thinking about and concerned about anything. We're just existing. We don't want to learn. We are completely irresponsible, not taking charge of anything, and just surviving. That is more of ignorance, and just eating, drinking, mating, doing anything out of which is not mentioned in the scriptures. So that is when we say we're at the platform of ignorance. So this is also mentioned here again, which is already detailed mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada and his purports also. The Vedas are meant to elevate one from mode of ignorance. That is why these modes are mentioned here again, because that's the purpose of Vedas, so that we know that, okay, we've achieved this, but what's next? Why are we making a body and shelter and all comfortable? Because the purpose is to use all of this in service of the Lord. So the Vedas were not actually, they shouldn't be exploited. They were exploited, especially in the Kali Yuga and as the yugas progressed. And that's why Buddha also appeared, because people started using Vedas in the name of Vedas. They started killing animals, because animals used to be sacrificed. They used to be a special ceremony with mantras chanted, recited very in a right way, and all the arrangements were done in a proper way as per the Vedas, as per the scriptures, as per the instruction, and the Brahmanas were really realized souls. As time progressed, people started just using animal sacrifice, and just for the sake of their tongue and food and their belly, they started slaughtering animals, innocent animals. And that is why we always get distracted after some time, and the Vedas, they're not actually utilized for the sake of liberation or for the sake of devotional service. So that is the meaning of Vedas. We know that the crux of Vedas is to know Lord Vishnu. So the Vedas are meant to elevate one from ignorance to the platform of goodness, but sometimes Lord has to appear because we are not using it properly. When one is situated in mode of goodness, he is able to understand knowledge of self and transcendental knowledge. That's why we have to regulate our life. Prabhupada says in the end here also, regulated life is very important. Regulated sleeping, regulated association, regulated eating habits, everything, all the activities that we do in our day-to-day lives, that has to be regulated. And devotional service and a surrender to a guru actually makes us regulate our life, because unless we are not surrendered to a guru, why will we, who is looking at us, who have we taken vows to? We haven't promised anyone anything to anyone, so we just keep on doing whatever we want to do. Like these days, if we see most of the Hindus, what they do, they just accept some of the philosophy from the Vedas that they like and that is comfortable for them, but but they will reject some of it, so which means that they are not following it properly. The same for Christians also. What did Jesus Christ say? Thou shalt not kill. But they are still killing because they are just using one example that, okay, Jesus ate fish, Jesus drank this. So they're just making the assumption, but they are not understanding that he is Jesus. You are not Jesus. Likewise, people say that Shiva drank this, Shiva did this, Shiva did that, but Shiva also drank poison. Can you do that? So in that ways, we just get bewildered and we just exploit and spoil our scriptures, and we just mix it up and we follow what we want to follow whimsically, and we ignore what is given in the Vedas as it is, what is given in the scriptures as it is, and because of that we suffer ourselves. So that is what Prabhupada is trying to say here, that if in order to regulate our lives, firstly we have to go to a bona fide spiritual master and Lord himself. So here, since a disciplic succession is required, this knowledge is expounded either by a personality, supreme personality of Godhead himself, or by his bona fide devotee. So his bona fide devotee is our guru, is our organization. I'm not saying that only his ISKCON organization is authentic, others are not. There might be other bona fide institutes and sampradayas, but our sampradaya is completely dedicated to serving the Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, highest truth, and following the Guru Parampara. So through the Guru Parampara, when we take knowledge from either Supreme Lord directly or Guru, then our knowledge is actually right, and it is beneficial for us. So Shaunak Muni also stated here that Kapila is the incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, took birth or appeared simply to appreciate and disseminate the transcendental knowledge. And this is the knowledge he's talking about, that what are we doing with our life? Do we know why are we existing here? What are we meant to do here? Simply to understand that one is a soul is not sufficient. He's saying that because the impersonalist people, they also say that we are souls. They also know that they are souls, but still their knowledge is incomplete because they are not serving the Lord directly. And after some time of wandering in their body, in their soul form, they still don't find the purpose, and they have to fall down and they have to again take birth as a human being. So this is, if someone on the call doesn't know about this, there's a chart that we have, and that very beautifully shows like where the soul goes for the personalist persons who believe in impersonal form of the Lord, or who pray to the impersonal form of the Lord and want to merge into that form. They actually are not satisfied and they have to fall down and they have to again take birth after many, I mean, whatever the time limit is for them to stay in that impersonal area zone. So they still have to come back. So what is the point? So that is not sufficient knowledge. That is what Prabhupada is saying here. Just to know that I'm a soul is not sufficient. You have to know what is the purpose, why is soul here? Why do we get a body? How does this body interacts with the world? And what are modes of material nature? What is intelligence, mind, ego? All these things, we need to know everything. One must be situated in the activities of Brahman. Knowledge of those activities is explained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Such transcendental knowledge can be appreciated in human society, but not in animal society. So again, Prabhupada is mentioning the rarity of taking birth as a human, because what happens is that we have to actually, these species of so many species of life are there, and we, all of us in this call also, we don't know what we were in our past life. We might be an insect, we might be a tree, we might be any bird or anything. It's not that we were humans only forever. We might be anything, but then we got promoted. Then a mouse gets promoted to, for just giving an example, to to a greater form he's afraid of. For example, cat. The cat gets promoted to a tiger. The tiger gets promoted to maybe a cow, and the cow is the last animal body, and then the cow actually, because we call her as a mother also, she has all the demigods in her body, she's treated like a mother. She becomes a human then. So we can imagine how rare and after how many lifetimes we get this chance to become humans. And the animals cannot regulate their life. Animals can't chant Hare Krishna. They can't follow the four regulative principles. They have no knowledge, no information about it. But just because of Lord Chaitanya's mercy, even animals were chanting and dancing. That is just possible by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That animals were embracing each other, chanting, and they were dancing, and even they were liberated. Lord Chaitanya didn't even have any exception. He just gave it to everyone. So that is his mercy, and how fortunate we are in Kali Yuga. But here Lord Kapila is genuinely explaining about, we're not talking about Lord Chaitanya here, but we're talking about normally what happens is that animals don't get liberated easily. They have to go to a higher form and then they become a human. So we have to take advantage of our human form of life to understand the transcendental knowledge. And in the second verse, Shwanaka continued that there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No, which means Lord is full of all knowledge. Lord has 6 opulences, and no other human being or no other form has these 6 opulences together. So what are the 6 opulences? So Lord is he has got all fame, all beauty, all renunciation, all power, all strength, and all, there's one more, 6 opulences: all beauty, all strength, all power, all fame, all knowledge, all renunciation, and all wealth. So he has got like everything. And he is the master of the Vedas. From him the Vedas come. And if we don't know the composer and who the master of Vedas, then what are we looking at? Like, we are reading the whole book. Someone gives you a book, you read the whole book, but you don't know about the author, you don't know who wrote it, then you won't get the bhav, you won't understand the reason for writing it and the bhav behind it. So we must know the author first, who wrote the Vedas. And to hear about him is always actual pleasure to the senses. So Bhagavatam also says that in Bhagavatam there is a verse which says that we never get tired of hearing about the all-good Supreme Personality of Godhead. We never get tired about hearing his nectarian pastimes, and it is actually good for our own purification. It purifies our senses. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that no one can be equal to or greater than Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know that. And he is Supreme Living Entity and supplying all necessities to everyone. And thus all living entities, Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, are subordinate to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in first canto also, in second canto also, we know how Lord expands to Balaram, and then Balaram to his first expansion. And after his first expansion, how the 4 expansions come: Shankarsna, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudev. And from the first Shankarsna comes Narayan. From Narayan comes again 4 expansions of Vasudev, Shankarsna, Aniruddha, and the 4 expansions. And from second Shankarsna comes Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, from whose navel Lord Brahma comes, and he gets the instruction to create, and then he creates the world, and then in every universe enters Karanodakashaya, and every living entity and every atom enters Karanodakashaya Vishnu, and who is also situated inside our hearts. So we see that everything comes from Krishna. Na here asya Varshamana Pumsam. Amongst the living entities, no one can surpass Supreme Person because no one is richer, famous, stronger, beautiful, wiser, and more renounced than him. And we see that from Bhagavatam, we see that from his pastimes and his various incarnations, that he has got all opulences. These qualifications, no one can claim to be a god. He has to have these 6 qualifications, and he is Yogeshwar. He has all the qualities. That's why he's called Yogeshwar. He's the best. He is the Lord of all the yogas. And Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita, for him, the first class yogi is who? For Krishna, for Lord, who is the Yogeshwar, the first class yogi is that person who is situated in devotional service, not the other yogis. Anyone who is associated with the Supreme Lord is accepted as first class yogi. And it is said that when we associate with whoever we associate with, even in our friend circle, we get their qualities. We hear from them, we start laughing like them, so when someone gets married, they get the qualities of their partner, either the wife or the husband. They'll start picking up on the things that the spouse do, and they start saying those things, or they start behaving like that, because the association matters. In the same way, when we associate with the Lord, when we hear about him, his qualities, his forms, his pastimes, his paraphernalia, we do services for him in the temple, we actually get his qualities also. And Krishna mentions such people as first class yogis, because they associated with Krishna. Anything that associates with Krishna becomes pure. It becomes spiritualized, and it becomes Krishna conscious. So devotees may not be as powerful as the Supreme Lord, but by constant association with the Lord, they become as good as the Lord himself. So that is why we say that the pure devotees, or pure Vaishnavas, or you can say gurus, they are as good as God. Prabhupada says that consider Guru as good as God, because he has renounced everything just for glorifying the Lord, and just for spreading about his glories, and reaching out to people and sharing about Krishna, and just so that he can get pure love of God and give it to others. So they are so purely and truly associated with the Lord from their heart, that they become as good as God. And when we serve them, we actually serve Krishna. When we serve the Vaishnavas, when we serve the pure devotees, we actually serve Krishna, and Krishna accepts that service through the devotees. Sometimes the devotees act more powerfully than the Lord. And of course, that is Lord's concession. So sometimes we see in previous incarnations and previous forms of the Lord also, that, for example, in Krishna pastime, if we see, Lord Balaram was actually more powerful than Krishna. Krishna will be still delicate. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He just behaves as if he is less powerful, or he's scared, or he needs protection. And Balaram used to behave as if he wants to protect Krishna. He's always worried about Krishna. No one should harm Krishna. Who's scolding Krishna? He used to fight with gopis. He used to fight with all these demons, Lord Balaram, because that was the bhav. That is the bhav and rasa that sometimes Krishna wants to experience. And then he gives credit to his devotees, and credit to his immediate and his very closely associated devotees. He gets credit to them, and he makes a show as if that devotee is more powerful than him. For example, Mother Yashoda is beating Krishna with a stick. Mother Yashoda is running behind Krishna, and he's scared of Mother Yashoda. He is Lord of the universe, but he is just acting as if he is subordinate to Mother Yashoda, because remember, Krishna is sold out to his devotees, to his pure devotees, and because he just looks for our bhav, our intentions, our love, and that's the only key to his heart. That is the only way we can love. We can, get Krishna's mercy and his love, pure love. So he then gives credit to his devotees, and then devotees looks like they are more powerful. Balaram looks more powerful. Yashoda Maya looks more powerful than Krishna. Radharani is more powerful than Krishna. Gopis, sometimes they are chastising Krishna. Lalita Sakhi is chastising Krishna. So that is the great quality of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is one of his qualities. Also used here a word is varimnaha, meaning the most worshipful of all yogis is Yogeshwar, Krishna. To hear from Krishna is the real pleasure of the senses. Therefore, he is known as Govinda. For by his words, by his teachings, by his instruction, by everything connected with him, he enlivens the senses. He is Rishikesh. He is the master of all the senses. So why don't we just surrender to him, and just use our senses in his glorification, and in his seva, and he will actually And actually hearing about him will give pleasure to our senses only, but that pleasure will not be materialistic. It will be for our purification. That the pleasure in the material world to our senses only distracts us, only disturbs us, only makes us even worse and frustrated. But the pleasure that the senses get from hearing about Krishna, from doing his service, it is spiritual pleasure. It doesn't give us any harm, it doesn't cause us any harm, it just enlivens the senses. Whatever he instructs from the transcendental platform, and his instruction being absolute, are non-different from him. So Bhagavad Gita is his instruction, that is not different from Krishna himself. That is why we consider Bhagavad Gita as very, very sacred, and not other than Lord himself. Hearing from Krishna or his expansion or plenary expansion like Kapil is very pleasing to the senses. In Bhagavatam is not other than Krishna's body parts, because it explains about his incarnations, and his incarnations like Kapil or Lord Kapil is his plenary expansion. And hearing about Kapil's instructions is very pleasing to the senses, that we will hear in later chapters and verses. Bhagavad Gita can be read or heard many times, but we don't get bored of it. Like, unlike other books, we will read once and we are like, I've heard about the story, this so and so happened. But we also hear about Bhagavatam, we've heard about Bhagavatam, we also hear about Mahabharat, we've heard about it many times, we've heard about Ramayana, we've heard about it many times. But why don't we get bored? Because it is nectarian, it is real, it is not fictional, it is real, and it is about the Lord. And the more we discuss about Lord, the more we feel like we get attracted to him, and our senses actually serve the right purpose, and our body and senses actually serve the right purpose. So it really purifies us from all the anarthas. If we hear about gossips, talk about gossips, that's only going to waste our energy and remove all the um, um, all the credits or all the energy we get from our sadhana. So that's why we need to remove those things and instead use our tongue, ears, and our body in service of Krishna. That will actually satisfy our body, because this body actually belongs to Lord only. It is his creation. So why not serve the main serve the roots of the tree? That is the nature of transcendental message. Similarly, we find the transcendental happiness in Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, the more we become happy. And that is why we should always continue hearing and chanting and reading and learning about Krishna in association of the devotees. And then Krishna has promised in Bhagavad Gita himself in verse 9, 4.9, that upon leaving this body, we will actually reach his abode, because we were absorbed throughout our lives in hearing about him, especially Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. With that, I will stop. And if there is any question, reflection, then maybe we can take it in the end. And there's a bhajan. Mataji will do the announcement about that. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for the very nice class, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So yes, today we have a very nice bhajan. It's called Jai Radha, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. And our singer today is Gaurangi Mataji. And the English translation will be by dear Sahiti. So I'm just going to share the lyrics on the screen. Please bear with me.
Thank you.
Okay, can you see the lyrics on the screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Sahiti, are you there to read the English translation, please?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, when you're ready, please go ahead. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Radha and Krishna, the divine forest of Vrindavana. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavana, Shri Govinda, Gopinatha, and Madana Mohana. All glories to Samya Kunda, Radha Kunda, Govardhana Hill, and the Yamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Madhavana, where Krishna and Balarama displayed all of their childhood pastimes. All glories to Keshi Gata, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon. All glories to Vamsivata tree, where Krishna attracted all the gopis to come by playing his flute. Glories to all of the 12 forests of Raja. All these places the son of Nanda Krishna performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sridama, the older brother of Srimati Radharani and Anaga Maharajiri. All glories to the cows and calves of Raja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni, grandmother of Madhumangala and Nandimukhi, the beloved disciple of Devasrinanda. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Raja. All glories to Gopi Shiva, who resides in Vrindavana in order to protect the holy Dhamma. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhumangala. All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balrama performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balrama, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavana. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of Kaliya, serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyama. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the meadow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Raja by Sri Krishna in the form of divine Prakirya Bhava, Paramore love. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Jana Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtana of the holy name. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Sahiti, for the beautiful, beautiful translation reading. Thank you. So, Garangi Mataji, are you there to sing the bhajan, please?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna. Shall I start, Mataji?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Sri Govinda Gopinatha, Madana Mohana. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Sri Govinda Gopinatha, Madana Mohana. Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana, Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahabana. Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Sri Govinda Gopinatha, Madana Mohana. Kesi Ghata Bangsi Bata Dadasa Kana
जहाँ सब लीला कैला श्री नंद नंदन। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। श्री नंद यशोदा जय जय गोपगण। श्री रामादि जय जय धेनु बसगण। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिद सुंदरी। जय पूर्णमासी जय आविर नगरी। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय जय गोपीश्वर वृंदावन माजा। जय जय कृष्ण सखा बटुद्विज राज। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय राम घटा जय रोहिणी नंदन। जय जय वृंदावन वासी एत जाना। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय द्विज पत्नी जय नाग कन्यागण। भक्ति ते जहार पाइला गोविंद चरण। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। श्री रास मंडल जय जय राधा श्याम। जय जय रस लीला सर्व मनोरमा। जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन। जय जय ज्वाला रस सर्वरस सारा। परकिया भावे जहाँ ब्रजेते प्रचार। Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Sridhana Vipada Padma Kariya Smarana Dina Krishna Dasa Kahe Nama Sankirtana Sridhana Vipada Padma Kariya Smarana Dina Krishna Dasa Kahi Nama Sankirtana Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavana Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful singing, Gaurangi Devi Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, beautiful, beautiful bhajan and very melodious song. And you sang with so much depth and bhav. Very
Thank
nice.
you.
Thank you.
This Mataji. Just trying Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful. Hare Krishna. Any someone wants to share something from today's verses, or want to share, or just any thoughts? If not, then we will end today's session.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Next week on Friday is a very auspicious day. Do you know what's coming? So next Friday is Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur's appearance day. Very important day because he is the spiritual master of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, who gave instruction to Prabhupada to go to the West and preach about Krishna consciousness. We wouldn't have been recording and sharing about Bhagavatam if this instruction didn't come and Bhakti Siddhant Saraswati Thakur didn't instruct Prabhupada, and we didn't have Prabhupada actually. We wouldn't have Prabhupada without him. So he's very glorious. We should hear about him, read about him, and glorify him and take his blessings. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Then we'll
Thank
end.
you very much, Mataji, for the beautiful class. Thank you. So it's amazing as always. You come so well prepared and you present the class so nicely. Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mataji. All glories to Gurudev and Prabhupada. Thank you for your association, all the devotees. We will end the session today. Hari Bol Vancha Kalpatarubyascha
Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Mataji, for the nice class.
Thank you, Mataji, so much. Thank you.